and so came and talked to us all, bought us medals, and from up the front told us a story about how we're alive.
We're alive.
With world champion silver Fern Gina Crampton. I'll finish the story. I was just talking about Ferguson and McDonald, the kayakers from the 80s Olympics who won about 300 gold medals at the Seoul Olympics, I think. Yeah. He told us a story about from the front, because he was an old boy of my school. Sorry, I forget other people have missed part of the story. Old boy of my school came and talked to the school, brought his medals along, and said he doesn't hand them out anymore. And the reason he doesn't do it is someone once got it and did that whole kind of Rafael Nadal thing and put a tooth mark in it. So like when I said to you yesterday, you know, do you want to, if you've got your medal, bring it along, we can show it and stuff. I'm like, I also have had a story from someone who, like, I can understand how some people would be like, oh, I'm not going to let anyone else touch it or hold it.
Yeah,
so people miss it. So you're putting yours behind glass with the dress from the game.
Yes.
Do you guys get a dress every game? Like the ABs get tops, or the one for the season, or how's it work?
No, so yeah, we get a dress for each tour, but at World Cup we had 2 black ones and 2 grey ones, so we had to have a clash dress. So yeah, so it's the dress that I wore in the final is being framed. Yes.
And did you do anything else with it, like get teammates to sign it or anything like that?
I didn't actually, because you want them to do a really good one, you know, not a bad signature on something like that.
So
but,
after all the alcohol straight after the game, not a good idea.
Probably not the best
Not a good idea. We were just talking as well about Sonny Bill giving his medal away at the end of the last Rugby World Cup. Doesn't sync with you so much?
Didn't fit so well. I mean, yeah, I probably wouldn't have done it. I think something that big, you'd want to keep yourself, but then you did say that he was given another one. So.
Yeah, but then again, you kind of go, wow, should he have been given another one?
Yeah, true.
Hey, is there any part of you as now, how's it feel, the title world champion? Is it on your email signature yet?
No.
World champion.
I don't think I'd add that in just yet, but no.
Honest answer.
Yeah.
Because really there's the Black Caps cricket, there's you guys, the Silver Ferns, and there's the All Blacks. Sort of the big three having their tournaments this year.
Yeah, it's weird it's all in the same year.
Black Caps were robbed. I think we can all agree they were robbed
definitely.
with that ruling from they were robbed, but didn't make it. All Blacks starting next week.
Yeah.
Is there any part of you which kind of goes, you know, I'd like to see them do well. If they maybe get a silver, that means we're a shoo-in for the Hellbergs. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh, nah. I think going for them definitely. It'd be cool if the Black Caps could have done it as well. That a three-peat for New Zealand
they sort
would have
of
been
did.
quite nice.
And
Yeah,
they got
did
robbed
really.
by that, yeah.
We didn't. Oh, we were glued to that game. We were actually over in Liverpool at the time, and our fitness trainer, he used to play cricket, so he made us all watch it.
Okay.
Because we're not usually typically into cricket, I have to say, but it was very exciting. I just didn't understand why they didn't have another Super over.
I was actually thinking what should have happened once the game was finished, and they actually realised the umpires made a mistake with the what was the rule after they threw the ball and they weren't allowed to rate in their second run or whatever it was. Yeah. They should have just gone, you know what? There's 2 names on the World Cup.
Yeah, definitely.
They should have just
a tie, wasn't it?
But because it was afterwards that it was kind of known. They should have just gone. We made our umpires made an error. If they hadn't made that error, New Zealand would have won. I think the fair result is 2 names on the cup this year. But that was never going to happen.
No. Especially while you're over there.
But there'll always be an asterisk beside England's name. It's like, not real. They didn't really win it. They kind of won it. So you've got an interesting journey. You're from Wellington.
Yes, I am. Yeah.
But I saw a little video from you the other day that said something like, my mum won't be too happy, but Dunedin's home.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, she doesn't like that I, when I leave, I say, my flight home's at whatever time. She's like, no, actually, here's your home.
Yeah, no, your flight home was 3 days ago when you came to visit.
Yeah, but so I've just been in Dunedin so long. I've been here 10 years now that I just sort of haven't really left. Yeah. I came for uni and then did that, and I've continued on just because of netball, really. But I do like it.
So netball is the thing but like once netball was over for you, so you're so young, maybe 10, 15 years from now, like Dunedin's home, or do you think that's when you check to see what's going on?
Yeah, I think probably at the end of netball I'd probably head somewhere else probably. Yeah, it's just I think it's been such a long time here. Yeah. It was kind of like, uni days.
Good 10 years? Was it 20?
Amazing. Definitely like some of the best years of my life. Yep.
Is that what it was? Did I read that or hear that?
Went into Cumberland College at uni. Great days those were.
Nice.
Some of my favourite.
And did you start netball a bit later than many. Did you? It sounded like
yeah.
I think it might have been the same little clip that I watched. It sounded like you kind of came along and went, I kind of got into some netball, and it seems like that you had quite a meteoric rise through the Otago ranks.
Yeah, definitely. I probably I'm not someone that sort of shined sort of all the time. I guess I'm just sort of like sort of go about my business in the background. So it took me a while to get into some teams here. I played club a lot, definitely, and then some rep teams and age groups and things, and then I sat on the bench for the Steel for 3 years before I even started actually playing for them. So, been there a long time, but sort of only recently, got my spot.
So when you were sitting in Liverpool, what tournament was that? Was that that was like a 4-country tournament when you were watching
in January?
In January, yeah.
Oh yeah, so we had quad series over there.
Quad series, not such a good result.
No, not so good. Yeah, not so great.
But then the lead up to the World Cup, how was it? What did you feel in the team? Like, were you confident, or like honest answer?
Weird. Yeah, that's a great question. I think a lot of girls answer it the same way as well. We definitely weren't confident in terms of saying we're going over there to win it. I think there was definitely a weird feeling amongst the group that it was sort of a mix between nice ringtone.
Thanks. I thought I turned it off, but obviously didn't.
Yeah, a mix. Just I think we just definitely we had belief put back into us, obviously by Knowles, I think, and there was a weird feeling sort of in those couple of weeks leading to when we got to Liverpool, but and I guess after we started playing as well, and we had quite a few games that sort of started to build without really being spoken about, if you know what I mean. Like the feel in the group was quite high without being sort of arrogant.
Is she a bit of a Phil Jackson? Phil Jackson is seen to be this kind of guru of basketball coaching. Right. He has this kind of philosophical view about the triangle defense and offense, and about getting his players to read books. He's a bit of a guru because everyone's talking about her like she's the reason. Yeah. What was different? I mean, you guys didn't improve your skill set by 50% under her. So what was it?
Well, I don't know. I think our skill set dramatically improved, to be honest. It's probably something that we missed previously in the Civil Ferns group, I'd say. And also just repetition of that. We used to always just have so many turnovers, to be honest. We'd lose the ball all the time and people would say we're unfit. And I guess those were the main things that she sort of came in and changed straight away. She put in fitness standards that you have to get, and if you don't get it, you're not even available for selection.
How do you test them? How do you test those standards?
So we do a yo-yo test.
Okay, explain it to all of us that will be tired from hearing about it.
So it's like the beep test, really.
Yeah, okay.
So you go out 20 metres and back, and you have to make it back before the beep.
Yep, and the beep gets faster and faster and faster.
Faster and faster, but you actually have a wee 10-second break between each beep. So it's a recovery test, supposed to be aligned with netball, sort of what you do in a game, but so she put in a 16, so you have to get over a 16.
And did girls fail that?
Yeah, and probably quite controversial. So our top shooter from ANZ last year, and she just plays for the Pulse, Aaliyah, she just missed out on a 16, and she was a top shooter in our domestic league all year, and so she just wasn't available for selection. It was quite interesting because I really wanted to see if she'd stick by it, if there were major people to miss out because of this thing, but she didn't pick anyone.
It's like you can imagine if Steve Hansen puts in some kind of test, and if what's his name Reed, the number 8, the captain failed it, when he kind of goes, what do you do about that? We'll worry about for him.
Yeah, exactly. No, so I think there were things like that dramatically changed in our environment, and she just knew what she was doing.
So between Liverpool and the World Cup, fitness improved. It sounds like you kind of said we went back to the basics. Because you talk about turnovers, and I think about turnovers as something that is like not being careful with the ball, or wayward passes, or that sort of thing. That maybe she did improve your skill set by going back to the basics a bit.
Yeah, definitely. And I think also what we could do with the ball under pressure. A lot of those times we could play it around and we had done really well, and then it was just the finishing pass that would screw it up on, really. So we pretty much based our trainings around that. In our couple of weeks lead into the World Cup especially, we had so we'd do centre passes for however long it took, and you had to get 5 out of 6 of them to be able to move on to the next line. And I remember in Sunshine Coast I was in one of the lines that took 27 minutes to get 5 out of 6, so we kept screwing it up, maybe at number 3 or 4 or whatever, And so there was just no breaks. You weren't allowed to stop till we got it done. And
so this is centre pass. So who's playing defence?
So we're just against each other. Yeah. So there's a line for defence, line for attack, and it's just rolling like the whole time.
So therefore, the defensive team,
they want to stop you.
They're going like, haha, we're going to keep you here for as long as possible. Bit of a game.
Yeah, 100%. And it was horrible. That's the most stuffed I've ever been in a training.
Wow.
And then quite demoralisingly afterwards, the next line did it straight away. They got 6 from 6, and I just couldn't believe it. Yeah, it's horrible. Not great.
It's fascinating that, it's an interesting thing about the fitness thing, about side of things. So, were you the fittest? I mean, they always talk about the All Black, and I'm sorry to keep relating things to the All Blacks, but it's the other kind of. It seems that like if there are two sort of teams in New Zealand that are the equivalent in stature, that all the boys look up to and all the girls look up to, a little bit like that. And I know it's not quite as much that, because lots of boys look up to the All Blacks, and like girls look up to the All Blacks and boys look up to the Silver Ferns. But I'll stereotype. It's like you guys are the heads. Right. Like it's the Silver Ferns. Girls want to grow up to be Silver Ferns, boys want to grow up to be All Blacks.
Well, it's kind of like in high school the head prefect was the captain of the rugby team, and the head boy was captain of the rugby team, head girl was captain of the netball team.
So would you have been the fittest? Because the All Blacks always talk about being the fittest.
I don't know.
At the World Cup, I mean.
I think what changed for us in terms of numbers like that was, so we have GPS bits that go in the back of our dress, so measure... Like
between the shoulder blades,
all these things, exactly right. And so I think the biggest change that we had at World Cup to our tours prior was we were able to do a lot more change of direction. Usually we just do big long lines, but at World Cup, like people's numbers just dramatically changed all across the whole team. So
when you say, you mean literal change of direction?
Literal change, being able to change direction sort of every couple metres rather than running one long line.
So rather than going from point A to point B in the fastest possible time, there'd be a zigzagging effect on the
trying
way
to
down.
lose your
so
defender.
Well, explain that to me. I mean, I understand what you're saying. I played basketball for a few years.
Nice.
So I in fact, my sister, there was actually lots of Silver Ferns that used to play with us.
Yeah.
Up in Auckland. Yeah, my sister was connected with a few of them.
Yeah, like playing basketball as well.
So what was it? Was it like, again, was it a conscious change?
I think it's...
Or was it the coach saying, we want to do it this way? Or?
Yeah, it was all we talked about at trainings. It was in our game plan. We went over the game plan every single day. This is what we've got to be like in attack. It was instilled in us that we had to do that. And you couldn't get away with not doing it as well against someone like Australia. So it was good that we could finally actually compete with them. And
I wonder as well, like Australia, I mean, I understand that the Constellation Cup that's coming up, there's like the 150th game between New Zealand and Australia is during that tournament.
Series, yeah.
I think Kerry told me on the Auckland game, it's 150 games between New Zealand and Australia. That is, they know you know them so well. If you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, that almost between Liverpool and the World Cup, that was a change. It was like when Australia beat the All Blacks earlier this year, thrashed them. They were saying that because the halfback was playing in such a different style of stepping out from the ruck and then passing, it was something the All Blacks hadn't seen for such a long time. They didn't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
So if you guys had changed that in your game plan between Liverpool and the World Cup, one of the things that potentially flummoxed them? Yeah,
definitely. I think we haven't been able to play that way for a long time. And again, it sort of all comes, it's in one big circle, but the fitness to be able to play like that as well is a level we didn't have before either. So, you've got to be able to play at that sort of dynamic game for 60 minutes, and we finally could actually do that in the end.
So that's there's a through line, like a narrative that, like the beep test, get the fitness up, allows you to do that in the game.
To be able to train that way, and then being able to do it under pressure, all those things. Great, and you summed it up perfectly.
You were playing wing attack in the final?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that your preferred position?
Yeah,
do you float
my
around
only
a bit?
position. No, I'm not allowed to go anywhere else because I'm real bad at defense.
Right.
So they're like, no, you're just not a centre, sorry. And then I'm obviously not going to shoot, so I would never wish that upon anyone's most precious situation ever.
When you guys get together at a trainer, like you're off to training after this, do you kind of mess around at the start? What do you do?
Yeah.
Like I know that there was a like when all rugby players get together, like even all of a sudden everyone's kicking. Like even if you're like me, a buff-headed front rower, you before the training actually starts, you're kicking the ball because that's the fun thing to do.
Yeah.
When you guys all get together and it's 15 minutes before practice starts, are you all shooting?
Definitely. We always play shooting games.
Right. Okay.
Because there's people that want to prove that they should be a shooter, or you always try and figure out if we had, if all our shooters were injured, who would be next up, and you try to sort that out.
Because Maria Folau, I always think Tutaia, but Folau. So when Irene left, retired, Maria was playing at goal attack at that point?
Yeah.
Okay, she was. And so she stepped up to be possibly the main shooter now, the main attack point?
Yeah, she's back at goal shoot. Well, she was at World Cup. I think it's something she actually didn't really like. She likes to be out there running around. But she's just got such an amazing shot that it's sort of, I guess the logic was if we can get it to her, then we've pretty much scored the goal. So
I'm someone who's... I have 3 older sisters, so lots of netball in our family.
Right.
Daughter who plays it.
Nice.
Watched it, love watching it. But I have to say, the first time I went and saw the Silver Ferns, which was an Auckland game at the is it the Spark Arena, downtown Auckland?
Yeah.
And Casey was playing.
Right.
Was the first time, and no disrespect, I feel like a dickhead saying this out loud, but no disrespect, was a time I really finally realised the athletic prowess and ability.
Yeah.
Because as I said, on a very minor way of playing basketball for a while, watching the hops that she's got and how up she gets, it was phenomenal. Yeah. And I just, if anyone's a sporting fan, but if anyone's a netball fan, you've got to get along at some stage to see. Because seeing in person brought back to me the skill set, felt like it went up tenfold. Yeah, it was amazing.
I think a lot of people say that as well, that they'd much rather watch it live. You don't really get the physicality of it and the speed of it. I think when you watch on TV, that's same as my boyfriend. He hates watching it on TV, but he'll come to a game. Well, sometimes, but hates watching it on TV. He just reckons it's boring. It's quite a long game though. That's the thing, 60 minutes. But much better live, I'd say. You can really get a gauge for it.
I was going to ask you about boyfriends.
Oh, okay.
Only because, like I said, there seems to be this, there's the Silver Ferns who are kind of the, almost the warriors of New Zealand, not the warriors in the rugby team, but the Amazonian females,
Well, although New Zealand Sevens girls, they're coming up big on the ranks, definitely.
Yeah, you're right. But I think profile-wise, that's sort of what I'm thinking. Is it hard to date? Is it hard to meet someone? Is it intimidating for someone to approach, approach yourself?
Not me. No one even knows who I am. But I guess potentially if you're, someone like Laura or Casey, Maria, those sorts of people who have had a name for themselves for years, then potentially. But probably not. Guys are confident.
Is that kind of why you end up sort of... it seems that a lot of high-profile sports women end up dating high-profile sports men because I guess weird, like actors date actors because they know the lifestyle, they know that they have to be super fit and they're not going to be intimidated by their boyfriend or girlfriend being fitter than them, sort of thing. The fragile masculinity sort of thing.
Yeah, it's an interesting one actually. I guess you just sort of meet people that are playing sport as well. Yeah. Just through the things that you do.
And I know you probably don't want to get into specific details, but your boyfriend's a fit young lad. Is he, a sporty type person?
Yeah, he is actually. Yeah, going right to the stereotype.
Right. Perfect. And when you were travelling, when you were over with the World Cup, was he with you?
No. He stayed behind. But so I did some travel afterwards actually, which was amazing. Me and Tapaya, who was also on the team, who lives here. Yep. Yeah, we did a bit of travel afterwards. So
that must be a nice little perk, eh? You kind of New Zealand Netball flies you over.
Yeah.
You compete and you say you can fly us back New Zealand Netball, but do it in about 6 weeks.
Yeah,
and
perfect.
We'll just travel.
And we never get the opportunity to do that in a European summer, so it was fantastic.
Nice.
Yeah.
You're playing for the Steel at the moment.
Yes.
I can see the blue just sticking through there.
Yeah.
Do you have to wear colours when you're training?
Well, pretty much, yeah. We're not quite in season yet, so we don't actually have to at the moment, but when we are, and I've just got so much of it that I just end up wearing it, to be honest.
Right. Do you get... I was going through the New World in Northeast Valley a couple of days ago, and I saw this gaggle, what can only be described as a gaggle, of small girls, kind of probably 13 to 9, around a tall, blonde, athletic-looking woman. And I didn't recognise her. Right. But I just had the thought, I wonder... if you girls get recognised out in public, I wonder if the netball players gravitate to you. Do they pull you over in the in the supermarket? Does that kind of thing happen more and more?
Yeah, sometimes, definitely sometimes, especially if you're at like the Edgar Centre or something, like that's a bit more likely, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
But actually after World Cup, I've had a lot of people come up to me just in the supermarket or stop me somewhere, and actually adults more so than children, which has been really cool because we probably wouldn't usually get that either. Just sort of saying, just stop you to say congratulations and stuff. It's really nice, actually. It's been really cool.
Can you remember the first time it happened?
Ever
that you got stopped and like, hey, can I have your autograph? Can you remember that?
It's funny actually when kids come up to you to get you to sign like their posters after the game, and you'll sign it, and then they might actually come back and say, "Can you sign it?" It's like, I've actually already signed your one, like they actually don't really know who they're getting to sign.
They've got a name of someone. Who's
Yeah.
They're
like, I'm missing one person. It's like, so it's quite good.
So once the Constellation Cup's over, I think it's the Cadbury. No, it's the Cadbury.
It's like the Cadbury series in the
Cadbury Netball series playing for the Constellation Cup.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. I think it's just naming rights.
Yeah, but still, lots of free chocolate.
Yeah, well, actually, apparently Caramilk's coming back out, so we're hoping for some of that.
How are you with your dietary intake? Are you like a strict diet, look after the body because I'm a well-oiled machine, or are you one of these people who eats anything because you train so much?
Oh, no, I can't do that. I wish I could do that.
Yeah.
That would be a great place to be, but I'm sort of more like an 80-20 person.
Right.
Like I would say I do my big rocks well, like breakfast, lunch, dinner, got my recovery, but I definitely enjoy treats and I don't always eat perfectly.
Right.
But I think I'd go nuts if I didn't, like I'm not someone to be like very onto it all the time.
What do you do for fun? What do you do in your downtime? What do you do when it's like this Friday night?
Right.
You're in pre-season training. You got something coming up, but really you're free. What do you? What's a typical?
Yeah, probably I've got a couple mates. Just like we'll have a few wines, have some dinner.
Yep.
Maybe watch something. I don't know. Nothing too outrageous, to be fair.
Are you a Netflix person?
Yep.
What are you watching at the moment?
Well, we've actually not on Netflix, sorry, but Peaky Blinders.
You don't have to apologise. I don't own Netflix.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Not a Netflix person?
No, I don't own it though, so it's not my problem. If you don't like it, that's fine. I'm not. I've got no investment in Netflix.
Yeah,
I've heard about Peaky Blinders. I haven't seen much about it.
You haven't watched it?
No, tell me about it.
Oh, you should watch it. It's like back in the early 1900s in Birmingham. Yeah. And it's like this gang, pretty much. The Peaky Blinders are a gang, and they just find ways to run the city, really.
Right. So gangster?
They're gangsters back
American.
then, I guess.
So that would have been Prohibition time, running all the...
So Downtown Abbey for men? I don't know.
Downtown Abbey for men.
No, that's very stereotypical.
Have you watched it?
I've seen a few episodes, yeah.
Didn't like it?
What do you think?
It was okay. I guess I was more hoping it was a little bit more sort of Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, a little bit more a little bit more humour to it.
I still haven't seen that.
Yeah. It was good though. It was very good. I can see why people like it.
Yeah. Well, so new episodes out at the moment. You should definitely watch it.
I definitely will, on your recommendation.
Oh gosh.
And then I'll message you and say it
was terrible. Yeah. What do you?
Are you going to see?
That's what I was just saying. That's the funny thing these days, isn't it? Like you almost take it personally. It's like recommending shows. It's sort of like, have you seen it? Did you watch it? And you're like, oh. And then when you reply to somebody that recommends a show to you, you kind of got to go, oh yeah, it was
great.
It was good, as if it was like their own personal project.
I felt that.
True.
I felt that not with a television show, but with a burger joint the other day.
Oh, what did you recommend?
Was that with me?
Because this guy here.
I was a Reburger virgin.
Virgin.
I've heard mixed things.
Well, we got one for lunch the other day, and I recommended it. And he texted me and he said, "Oh, cheers for the burger." But nothing else. I'm like, you prick. And so I had to actually say to him, you said cheers for the burger, but what did you think? Yeah, it's pretty good.
I
took offense.
I said, no, you're just putting words in my mouth, trying to look bad. I said that it wasn't what I was expecting, because it's a different kind of burger. I was expecting those nice,
we're not sponsored by them, by the way.
Those big, the sort of like the big flash, really well put together. Almost you could take a photo of it and it'd be the proper photo ones that you got to also articulate your jaw to actually be able to eat. And it was different to that. But it was actually it was really good. It was I called it more, for lack of a better term, a sloppy burger. But the sauces and beef. Yeah.
Sometimes messy food is good food, though. I reckon
can be.
Yeah,
can
like
be.
Nachos.
We should ask our offsider here, Tom, if if the Reburger have vegan burgers. I just want
they do.
Of them.
I think they do.
Scandal. I think they. I ordered the vegan one because it's the
Have meat in
vegan
it.
mince, and I ate it and I was like, this is so good. And then I ordered it another week and it was completely different, and I was like, did they give
you've
me
been given meat.
did they give me beef the first time? So
Now
I don't
look, the thing I love about
And you liked
that.
it.
terrible, eh?
And you're like questioning your life decisions.
No, the thing that's perfect about that is the vegan goes, "Oh, this is so good." And it's
Yeah,
because you're
yeah,
eating meat. Of course, it was good. You were eating meat.
Did you hear about that pizza place that sold? They said it was meat, like a meat lovers, but it was actually
pizza.
yeah. I reckon that's hilarious. And if you think you're
People
eating
got
meat,
really
they
angry.
didn't. I can see why
Really
you'd get
angry
angry
about
if you were told you're eating
The other way around.
vegetables, but
around.
you're eating meat. But
Yeah.
it was
Other way around is totally
Yeah,
like,
I
it's actually
reckon.
like, you know, if you say this is vegan and it's got meat in it, you can get outraged. That's
yeah,
fine.
totally yeah.
But if they're like, they did, because they didn't say meat. No, they skirted around. They kind of implied it.
Yeah.
But, what was that?
burger pizza.
Yeah, the burger pizza. That was what it was called. It was called the burger pizza,
right.
and people just assumed that the things on it was real
Yeah.
meat, and it was that impossible meat or whatever it was. That
But
red
that's
meat
great.
was- Yeah.
I mean, I still have the opinion, there's a vegan in the room, so we should be careful of this, that if you're a vegan, you are not allowed to do things like eat vegan meat or vegan sausages, or because if you're moving away from meat, you don't get the benefits of having a
Like
barbecue.
those.
You know, like, fuck off. You don't get the barbecue because you don't eat meat. Unless it's like zucchini on the barbecue, that's fine. You don't get to have pretend meat.
Zucchini.
You don't get to have pretend
Have
meat.
you actually tried mince-free mince?
That sounds repugnant. No, I have not.
It's actually nice. It
Really?
tastes like mince, yeah.
Mince-free mince. So it's like, don't choke there. It's good to see the sponsor's product there, H2O.
Oh no.
Going for it. Mince-free mince. We're live as well. So if you die now on air, like the nation is watching, both people on the live stream.
We get to clip it.
We get to clip it, yeah.
Put that on TikTok.
TikTok. Are you a TikToker? No. You need a minute. So Jace, are you a TikToker?
I have, after your recommendation, much like the burger, I did download it and I've scrolled through it a few times and you tricked me really with a false sense. The very first clip on the very first time you showed me TikTok was that guy with the firework under the car, and
That's
we wet ourselves
so
laughing.
funny.
But I have not come across anything anywhere near as funny yet. But,
So
yeah.
for people who don't know, TikTok is it's kind of the replacement for what Vines were.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, if you go and get on TikTok, you can just nod. Do you know what TikTok is? You're involved with it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I've
Good.
heard of it.
You get involved with it, and you, in fact, you could look. I know you could YouTube this, because I know there's a TikTok that's. I mean, I'm sure they get shared around all the time, but it's like cat. Go to YouTube and go cat freaks out over mask. So a girl has a beauty mask on, and her cat freaks out. It's a TikTok. They're all like 15 seconds, but the problem with TikTok is it's all kind of 16-year-old girls looking 25 and doing horrifically sexual things. But it learns your algorithm. So when you keep going skip, there's a funny one. You get more and more funny ones, and you'll see it's a white cat that's sitting on the stomach of a girl who's laying back in her bed, and she's got a mask, like a beauty mask on.
Can't find it.
Are you serious?
Can't find it. Sorry.
Are you okay? Are you actually
Yeah, this is terrible.
probably
sorry.
find Netball New
I'd
Zealand watching?
ask you if
right
you needed
now.
some water, but that was the problem, wasn't
Got
it?
it, yeah.
We'll give you. I cannot find it. I apologise. And it's the worst day for our wide shot not be working as well. 'Cause
Yeah,
they can't even
totally.
see us. They're just looking at you, Pat.
Are they?
They're just looking at you.
I was
going
going
to
to search for it myself.
But-
So this whole time it's just been on me.
Yep.
That's
Well,
good.
that's no
That's
good.
good for me.
Are you better? Are you back with us yet?
This is terrible. Wait, this has actually happened to me at a funeral before. I got this terrible coughing fit and had to leave. It was not nice.
It
I don't know
could
what
you
happens.
could do it on 7 sharp. That'd be a little worse. Because,
Definitely.
I'm just
Well-
passing Jace the actual video.
Oh, it's on YouTube. How can you find it on your phone quicker than I could find it on YouTube?
Because
Not on a
I've
computer.
The
got this.
master.
I've got the skills, bro, and because I'm old. So that's what TikTok is. So TikTok's become the new Vine, and
Right.
I flick through it, and now because I've been on it for a couple of weeks, I've finally got rid of all those algorithms of 16-year-old girls doing dances and stuff.
Not going to come up for you anymore.
Yeah, no. So I get
It is quite popular though, isn't it?
I get things like this. I love this one.
Baby, it's me. It's me.
kinds of things I get coming up in my TikTok
Are you a cat
feed.
person?
Not really. I'm not anti-cats.
Right.
In
A lot
our-
of people are.
In our house, we've got rabbits.
Rabbits.
Yeah, and we've got a dog, and the dog moves with the kids between their mum's house and my house backwards and forwards. So, no, we've got rabbits. We've got cute rabbits that live inside part of the time, outside part of the time. And
Oh my gosh.
the
What do you
kids
feed them?
food.
Just anything.
What do I feed them? You go to my Instagram, there's photos of my rabbits on the Instagram. Lots of vegetables.
Right.
Off to Veggie Boys, the
That's
best place
good.
to get veggies. And I get, and pellets and hay and that kind of stuff as well.
Oh gosh.
They probably eat the best in the
I think
house.
Tom's a rabbit man too, aren't you, Tom?
What do you got?
Yeah, we got two big, like the half Teletubby rabbits. Those big
What?
boys.
Big
Like,
boys.
are they Neanderthal or Netherland, whatever rabbits?
Almost, yeah. Lots of hay. We just buy big bales of hay from farmlands
Uh,
and just go. Hey,
we
have a
have,
hoon
there
on
you go.
that.
That's our rabbits.
Oh.
That's two of our rabbits.
Are they cuddly?
Those are the two inside ones. If you go to that same place, Jace, there's one with we've got three, like actually right there, that one, yep. This is the other one that we inherited. So the two behind her are boys. This is the girl. She has always been an outside rabbit, so not quite trained so well.
Right.
Whereas the two boys behind it are 80% of the time being inside rabbits. So we got them from someone, and they're all pretty good and cuddly. The inside ones have been trained well enough that they will use a kitty litter. Those ones there. So in other words, my daughters get them inside and put kitty litters out for like two of them, and we don't have accidents. But I don't let them live inside; they're outside most of the time.
Mm.
So yeah. So am I a cat person? Not anti cats.
Right.
But don't have a cat.
Right. Fair enough.
Why is that you?
I think I'm sort of. Oh.
Are you a
with cats.
cat? Are you a cat person?
Yeah, definitely over dogs.
Do you have
I'd say
pets
so.
at the moment?
No.
How much do you travel? How much time do you spend, let's say, outside of Dunedin? Like whether it's for steel or for ferns or whatever.
Like half the week probably.
Really?
Yeah.
Consistently? So
Yeah.
6 months of the year?
Definitely in the season, yeah. And then when we're away with Ferns, we're pretty much away from Dunedin for a couple months.
The ferns, they typically play out of season?
So you have your whole steel season,
Yeah.
and then the Ferns are afterwards later in the year.
So the other people in the steel squad, if they're not selected for the ferns, that's sort of the end of their netball
sort of.
playing. Obviously,
Yeah.
they're still training and stuff.
Yeah.
And again, without getting into the personal details of
No,
anything,
that's
is it what's the money like? Like, is it like, I've just watched that documentary By the Balls, which is actually on this, Jace, it's on this week. We had a documentary maker in for the film
This
festival.
Sunday, wasn't it?
Yeah, called By the Balls.
Sunday.
It's about the All Blacks in the 80s
Right.
and about that whole South African, trip and all the controversy.
Right.
And the story they tell is, where JK would get up and do his butcher's work in the morning and then go to Maris training and then go to Auckland sort of thing.
Right, yeah.
Is you guys earn enough to live off? Is it a good living? Is it comfortable? Is it, yeah.
It obviously depends, how long you've been in the team. So everyone's different throughout contracts, yeah. But I think the minimum for ANZ is 25,000.
And that's
So-
what, like a 5-month season?
Yeah, probably about towards 6 or 7
Okay.
by the time you include pre-season.
Right.
Yeah.
So most of those girls would still have other jobs as well.
Yeah, so lots of them study or have another job
Right,
somewhere.
study, yeah.
So the younger ones, yeah. But I can live off mine. So I've got my Ferns one as well.
Yep.
I get most of my money through Steel.
Yep.
It's sort of like a bigger provider than Ferns.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's always the way, really.
Is it all one? So does the Steel come under Netball New Zealand?
No, and we've been trying to get it to be one contract because then you
Right.
wouldn't get secondary tax.
Yeah,
But
of
that would
course.
make more sense. But no, so they're separate contracts. Yeah.
Wow. And again, thinking about sports athletes in New Zealand versus the world, when let's just compare like the top to the top to the top. When a Richie McCaw or a Dan Carter retires and a Irene Van Dyke retires and a Michael Jordan retires, those kind of things. Obviously, the Michael Jordan, him and his next 6 generations of people live comfortably forever.
Yeah.
I would think the Dan Carters and the Richie McCaws, they live pretty comfortably after
I'd say so.
with speaking engagement. Well, I mean, Richie's got his business with the helicopters as well, but speaking engagements and the money they've earned and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
What about for the Irene Van Dykes? Again,
Yeah.
I'm not interested in knowing her personal details, but in general, I mean, she was a teacher.
Yes.
Has she gone back to that, or?
I think she does a bit, sort of like she's working for netball centres and things like that more so. So
because she's working with the Wellington team. Because I had a conversation with her about coming down with the team to do a podcast, and she doesn't travel with the team, but
so she does coach actually the Pulse. She helps out with that, and then like I think she does a lot more like younger groups, and she took a tour group to World Cup. Like she was the leader of that, things like that. So I think she definitely still would have to work.
But her income is still basically generated from her netball
people wanting
profile.
her to be definitely.
Which would be the same for the Dan Carters of this world. Their income has come from their rugby profile.
Yeah, but he can do like world famous ads and things like that for watches.
And
we probably wouldn't
jockeys.
do that.
I worked on an ad with Dan Cutter in it for Health3's vitamins, I think it was. And you know somebody's got money when they rock up to a TV commercial in their sweats, and they're carrying their other sweats in their Louis Vuitton bag. Are you rocking some Louis Vuitton from your netball?
No way, and I don't think Irene is either. So there's no way I will be.
A lot of sponsored product though. I mean, like who? I don't want to mention brands' names in case they're not. Who sponsors the dresses and the outfits and the gear?
Well, so we've got Puma as our what we actually wear, and so they give us some extras and things. Which
so
is
your
cool.
shoe cupboard full of Puma footwear?
No, also Essex is our shoe. So that's our shoe sponsor, and then we get like MYOB is one. Like there's just all sorts of.
So your account's taken care of for you.
Oh, actually, that would be really nice, but just things like that. So but we're pretty lucky, really. Like we don't have to. We get given free stuff quite a lot of the time.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
When you go and travel, do you get given, what do they call it for athletes, sportsmen? Like a stipend?
Per diem?
Yeah, per diem, a stipend. Do you get like given an allowance each day when you're away?
Oh, right.
Or is that all just included in your
That's in our salary, yeah. But we get like money for food and things like that.
Nice.
Yeah. So
and if you and the girls are in Liverpool and you've got a day off and you're going to go for a feed, is it Dirty Burgers or where do you end up?
Well, we found this one place in Liverpool.
Yeah.
It was like a pub type thing, and the menu was honestly like, it literally had everything there, and everything came with chips and a drink for like £5 or something. So we just would always go there on our days off. But burgers and pizzas were quite good because you don't get that when the team's all eating together. It's only healthy stuff. So
boring.
You got to change
stuff.
it up. Boring
healthy stuff.
Fueling food.
I was wondering, so many of the men's teams in New Zealand sport have the haka. Has there ever been talk about the women doing something equivalent?
Well, we do a waiata, so we've got a team song that we sing at, I guess, like community engagement and things like that, but not sort of around the game. We do the anthem before the game, so I guess that's sort of the same, but I think. Has
it ever been a conversation that you're aware of?
No, well, actually, when the Pulse won the ANZ Premiership early in the year, they did a wee haka and a song afterwards. That was winning a championship though, so I don't know if that's slightly different, but they sort of there was talk about the Silver Ferns trying to do it. I think it would be quite a long process because you want to be able to do it well, and I think it's a bit shit really if you do it half-assed sort of. So
sometimes you see people, particularly maybe in America, but often even with the All Blacks and other people, you see them when the camera does that long sort of panning shot across them when they're singing the anthem sort of thing, and then some people aren't singing and they get like just rubbished on Facebook, they just torn to shreds. I'm sure that and anybody that's got is in their right mind would know that they're in the zone. And so is that something because if you're forced to sing with that because it's I'm guessing that's right though, isn't it? Is that you're not singing not because you don't know the words, but because you're like 100% or 110%.
Totally, yeah. Well, everyone does it differently. Yeah, there's a lot of people that don't. That's the same thing with Maria's often thought to be like a little bit rude because she stays sitting down for so long, but that's part of her game prep. She's imagining or using imagery like putting the ball through the hoop, that sort of stuff that is actually probably a bit more important at that certain time. It's tricky. It's
a little bit like Twitter. They reckon something like 10% of Twitter users make up 90% of the content. It's three complaining people. I used to work on Talkback.
Right.
It's 3 complaining people versus the 3 million other who don't care.
Yeah.
Who make a story out. And unfortunately, in the world of media, those stories get picked up on like it's a big deal. And it's really not.
Yeah.
Speaking of Maria, the whole issue around hubby Israel and that when it all fell down, I was wondering, how do you hear about that as a member of the squad? Do you just see it in the news? And, or do you get a call saying, hey guys, we just need to be up on this? Or
Yeah. Well, we were actually all together when he put up the page. So I think that was actually probably quite good because we were all there together. Maria actually wasn't there, so at this camp, Maria and Laura weren't there because they were still involved with their franchises.
Yep.
So we were sort of all talking about it, I guess, and saying your different views on it, and then.
Oh, that's interesting. So there was a bit of a maybe not debate, but certainly a conversation going on about what the context of it was.
Yeah, I guess. I think most people sort of on the same page, but there's a few girls in our team that are lesbian as well, so there's things like that sort of people coming from different angles, I guess. And then actually we were all together the following week, and Maria was there, and it was actually really good. We just all sat down, and she sort of told us where she was coming from and her points and things like that, and she was probably quite emotional for the group. No. But it was something that Noel said, like, we've just got to talk about this now and hear from everyone, and at the end of this meeting, we're all on the same page and we're family and we'll back Maria and whatever. So I think that was actually the best thing for us. It got sort of, the whisperings and stuff out of the way, and otherwise it would have been just an issue we'd never talked about. So the best thing for us going forward, and actually from there it probably didn't actually bother us too much at World Cup, which is the main thing, I think.
It was, I don't know what the story was, but I did read a story, or maybe it was on telly, I saw a story about how the team had basically got around Maria when that happened. Yeah. Because I'm not going to say this with absolute certainty because I'm not 100% sure, but I think she came out saying that she supported the right for her husband to say what he wanted to say. Yeah. But you guys were still able to kind of... Yeah. It's funny, we were just talking about that documentary By the Balls, and the idea that people would like to keep sport and politics separate. It feels a little bit like its ability to keep personal views and sport separate. Yeah. Because I'm assuming, you just said there were some lesbian girls on the team, but I'm assuming there's probably some Christian girls on the team that on some level actually kind of agree with may not agree with how Israel said it, but kind of agree with the context of that faith and what those things that might. So were there people in the group? No names, no nothing, no details. It's your private group. But I'm assuming there'd be some people who kind of go, well, I sort of agree with it, but that as well?
Maybe not. Yeah, I guess so. I didn't really think of it that way, but I imagine there would have been, there's a lot of people, of the girls that go to church and things like that as well in the group. So, but I think one thing that was good that Maria did was sort of said, I love my husband because he stands up for what he believes in, blah, blah, blah. But that doesn't mean you guys need to believe what we believe. And I think it was good for us to see her perspective as well, and how much actually she'd been sort of, I guess, like hurt by the situation as well. So, good opportunity for us to all jump on board, really, and just
And she's based in Australia now.
Yes,
she's living there.
Yeah.
So when the Constellation Cup comes up, because do you have to be a New Zealand resident or based in New Zealand to be selected for the Ferns?
I think you have to play 120 tests for the Ferns to be able to play elsewhere and still be eligible.
Oh, okay.
So they just brought that rule in, which
was that because for Maria?
for Laura actually, I think, and then Maria sort of jumped on board. So where does Laura live? She was playing with the Sunshine Coast. She's played there the last couple of years. So, I think we had to have people like that come back, and they wanted to further their netball elsewhere. They've been playing here for 16 years. You can understand completely why they wanted to go. So.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it's just so I get it right, it's the ANZ Cup, is that the one that's
ANZ
across the Tasman?
So no, we don't play together anymore. We play separately.
That cancelled?
Yeah. Yeah, so Australia have their own league, we've got our own league.
Because I was thinking about the rugby equivalent, obviously with Super Rugby, and I think it's a ridiculous rule for the All Blacks to say, unless you play in a New Zealand franchise, you can't be selected for the All Blacks, because they're playing in the same tour. I mean, I understand that you have to be a member of, let's say, Bay of Plenty or Canterbury or Otago. Yeah. But if you play for the Rebels or you play for the Lions or whatever in South Africa, for your professional game, you're still playing in the same tournament,
I guess,
against the same people with the same referees. I don't quite get that. I don't understand that. I mean, anyway.
I don't know. I think you want your best people playing in your own country, though.
I don't disagree with that, but I just think that to have a hard and fast, because I think the best people will typically play in your country, because if you want to represent your country, this is where you want to be based. And if you're the best open side flanker or the best centre, then you're not going to have to shoot off and play for a different team. You're going to get the pick of your teams. Whereas it would seem that perhaps, you think about injuries and that sort of thing. If there was someone like Adam Thompson from here in Otago was playing for, I think, Queensland for a while, I think he would have been ineligible to play for the All Blacks even if there had been injuries.
Right.
Maybe I'm wrong at that, but maybe not the first strength or first level player.
So.
I was fascinated pre World Cup with the tournament involving the men's team.
Yes, yeah.
That
Cadbury
was
series.
pretty cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was actually an amazing week, and they beat us twice, the men team.
Is that because there was someone who was 7'2" or something?
7'4", I know.
He's 7'4".
7'4".
Holy crap!
And he's not just tall; he's solid as he could split, pretty much the whole goal circle, and he was right under the hoop. But yeah, I did feel bad for Jane actually playing against him because she had a hard time. But to be honest, that was some of the best prep we could have had because they're so physical. It's literally like we had to battle really hard for the whole game, and something that we miss in our ANZ Premiership, and then we probably didn't quite get against the All-Stars in Fiji, probably half a game of a really physical side, and then playing the men twice was just awesome prep for us because we had to play them, then we had another game and then played them again, so 2 days later, and it just was replicating all these things we were going to get at World Cup, and their skill and their flair is incredible. They're really good.
It did make. I mean, this is my naivety, right? So I'll put that out there. I was surprised that you guys lost.
Yeah.
I guess because I had a mindset was, these women are the best in the world. No one can beat these women. And then there's this part-time blokes. Well, I'm not trying to disrespect them, but these guys who don't have a league to play in like you guys do, and they won. I was surprised.
Yeah, I think a few people would have. We actually play them a lot, just in trainings or trial weeks, but it's never really advertised broadcasted, and it's probably usually even or they beat us sort of thing. So I think it's hard to compete literally with the height that they can play with, their arms are sort of up here and they're thrown to each other like that, and we can't even sort of get into that space, but. Just the skills and things are pretty unreal, really.
It's amazing, actually. And also, there was that fantastic sort of, people are talking about pay parity in sport. And then once that happened, they're like, well, actually, how much did the Silver Ferns earn and how much did the New Zealand men's netball team earn? It seems to be maybe the one area and it's the other way around.
Well, you'd be interested to see if there's going to be a competition formed. Well, there already is men's nationals, but, sort of get it a bit more in the limelight and see what happens in that space.
It's actually reminded me that, I'd completely forgotten about this, but it reminded me that when I was intermediate, I noticed, the notices come around the school classrooms and signing up for the teams and stuff, and they were like, I think I was, because I played basketball and I was wanting to play something else as well, but I wasn't into rugby and stuff like that. Yeah. And I said, I put my hand up for the netball, and my teacher, because I was a bit of a clown, thought I was just being a clown, and I was like, no, I want to join. I want to see if I can play netball. And I went out and they said, okay, we'll go to Mrs. Watchford class and tell her that you want to play. And I went over and then she said, we don't have a uniform for you. Sorry, you can't play. And this day and age, I'd have been on TV One. I'd have been on TV News totally. Because my mum would have kicked up a fuss and said, "Oh, this is gender discrimination." But I was just like, "Oh, okay, that's fine." And so I didn't play netball.
Well, actually, I had a boy in my Year 7 and Year 8 class, so just before high school. He was one of our better players too. He was in our school team.
I go down to Edgar Centre, watch my daughter play. And there's a fair few boys involved.
Yeah, I think
she's getting a bit up. She was at primary school level, and intermediate school. There were more boys. Right. Now she's in secondary school.
Yeah, it starts to filter out a wee bit.
But certainly primary and intermediate. And I think it's cool. I mean, it's like the opposite is girl wants to play rugby or
exactly.
wants to play in the cricket team. If there's not enough girls to put a girls cricket team together, then if they're good enough,
put them in the boys team.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was the big thing recently with that, wasn't there? That there was a girl that was playing on like a provincial, like, you know, under 15s or under 13s or something like that game, and they're like, oh, we're not going to play against her because if she gets hurt, you know, and like because they're getting quite high up in the league sort of thing, and the like team was, oh no, if she plays, we're not going to win. You're going to be officially a forfeit. And the rest of the team kind of said, well, okay, we forfeit then. we're not giving up we're not letting her not play just so that we can win a game. And so it was really good because the whole, like just how they're saying with the team, you know, they came together as a family and said, no, we'll forfeit them, but we're going to play.
The physicality difference is interesting though. So there is maybe you can go onto YouTube, Jace. I don't know too much about this. I heard it as a kind of story just back here, you know, back in the back of the head. But there is a female NFL kicker who can kick the ball 55 yards, like from past halfway, and so she wants to play in the NFL because that's a big kick, you know. And there has been a female NHL hockey, ice hockey goalie, but I think they use that as a little bit of a. Is that her? I actually don't know too much about it. Well, she's 18. Go scroll back up. I said, how far can she kick it? And she can down, up to the wrong way. Oh, yeah. Farther. Okay, she's farther than you. You show us the footage. So,
see if it's actually footage or not. But.
Yeah, there you go. She's kicking it there. So she's 18. Okay, so she's a long way away from NFL. I thought maybe she was in the 20s or something. But I guess that means she wants to be a college kicker. But the question is, you know, it's very infrequent. But if you were to miss the kick, and the defense was to get it and run, then she has to defend.
Right.
And all of a sudden she's defending against 110, 120 count.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I'm not sure she'd dive at that though, would she?
I don't know. But I think it's interesting in this day and age as well with the whole conversation around where gender is and, you know, almost what is a male, what is a female. I think sports is one of those areas that still show the line of demarcation. I mean, if there was no difference in the biologies of men and women, then there wouldn't be men and women's sports.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
This thing is interesting because in the same conversation I heard about this kicker, apparently most sports, there is no barrier for women entering the male-dominated areas. But there is a barrier for men entering the women's, because you know LeBron James going and playing in the WNBA would be 100 points a night. Yeah. But the best female basketball player playing in the NBA would be cool.
Potentially compete.
Yeah, totally. No issues with that at all.
And it's an interesting one.
Yeah,
that it can't go both ways. But yeah, just for pure like sometimes physical reasons, right? They're just bigger, stronger, faster.
Well, the thing is, you girls are. Now that I've gone all freaking sensitive because I've said the word gender and I know that there's lots of opinions out there. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say the word girls. You girls, you highly tuned athletes, but you guys are on the bigger side of women. I mean, I look at I don't remember who it was, but I was with my daughters watching the game, and we were flicking through the stats, and it's like 6'1", 6'2", 6'1", 6'2", and I'm 6'3", so I'm amongst men I'm tall, but I'm not massive. Yeah. Whereas 6'1", 6'2" is massive for a woman. Yeah. 6'6" and up is kind of massive for men. So even though the women seem to be massively high and tall and that sort of thing, your sort of average bloke can be easily taller.
Yeah. Well, it's quite funny actually. People say to me sometimes, "Oh my gosh, you're so tall," and I'm like, I'm actually really, I'm really.
How
not.
tall are you?
I'm 5'8.5".
Oh,
but
really?
for I guess general women, I'm mid to high sort of thing. But then all the people I'm around, I'm the shortest. But I'm always the shortest in the team.
Because it's typically the ones in the circle, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like when you're watching an NBA game and you see the little fella on the court. And you're like, oh, look, there's John Stockton. He's a nice little fella, isn't he? and then you realise he's 6'3", and it's just because all the other guys are 6'8", 6'10", and
totally.
7'2". And he looks like this little tiny dude, little kid running around the thing.
Oh, funny.
So, Constellation Cup is coming up.
Yeah.
After that, what happens with you?
Yeah, so we actually, November is the month off for Silver Ferns.
Right.
So we get a month off in November, which is quite nice. And then back into sort of pre-season again in December for Steel. So it sort of just continues on, really.
So November.
Yes.
So December. So Christmas time comes around and you're technically in training mode.
Yeah.
Oh man, what does that mean for Christmas lunch?
Oh, no holdbacks there. Definitely not. That's something that, I'd never be that way.
And
although it is right smack bang in the middle of training.
And you're Dunedin based. Your boyfriend, is he Dunedin boy as well?
No.
Where's he from?
He's actually up in the Mount at the moment.
Oh, Mount Maunganui.
Yeah.
So what happens for you on Christmas? Are you Wellington with the whānau? Are you the Mount with the boy? Are you Dunedin in your PJs and your
Definitely
slippers?
not Dunedin.
Okay,
Definitely not Dunedin. Probably home with the family. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. No. What do you do for Christmas?
Well, I will be in Dunedin this year.
Right. Nice.
And spending. I've already bought my kids presents.
What?
Yeah.
Are you allowed to say what they are?
Jace, will you just credit they are the coolest presents in the world? You know what they are, don't you?
Oh yeah, that's right. No, I do know what they are.
We're not going to say it though, because my daughter plays netball and she'll watch this.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
you know they are the coolest presents.
Yeah.
Oh man, so early.
Boom.
Actually, it's quite scary though that we can start having Christmas conversations again.
Well, it's September, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, but the year's
October.
just gone so fast.
Yeah, it has. Has it been a quick year for you?
Crazy quick. I think it gets quicker and quicker though, doesn't it?
But do you know why? Coming from an old man, is because proportionally, 1 year is so much less of my whole lifespan than it is from yours. When you're 2 years old, 1 year is 50% of your life.
Right.
When
It's a good way to look at it.
But that's why it feels
all
like
makes
it takes
total
forever.
sense.
Yeah.
And then as you get older, it's like 1/50th, 1/60th of your life. So it's like, and it's gone, just another one.
It's gone.
That explains it now.
I actually reckon that's what it is. The older you
It's a
get,
good theory.
It actually is.
Think
Did you just think of it now as
No,
it came up?
No,
Whatever.
I thought of this before. I think the younger you are, the bigger proportion a year is of your life, so it feels longer.
Yeah, I think you've got the room on board with that one.
Are we?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think the consensus would be yep. I think also.
Is there anything else we'd like to solve?
Yeah, well,
kids makes
probably.
sense.
I'm probably happy to solve. Yeah, no, so my whānau's in Auckland. My mum passed 11 months ago.
Oh, sorry to hear
Yeah,
that.
motor neuron disease is a bitch of a thing. So last year, a lot of time in Auckland, and the previous Christmas up there. Last Christmas in Dunedin, this Christmas in Dunedin.
Right. What's Dunedin like on Christmas Day?
Well,
Surely it's a good day.
It's a ghost town.
Is
you know.
it? Yeah, everyone
But
gets
But it's
out.
but
Auckland
it's,
is too. So,
it's family, you know. I have a
totally.
couple of boarders that live with me as well,
Oh, nice.
and so last year I think I had friends over, my kids, boarders. I think we had about 11 of us around the table, so it kind of felt like that.
Nice.
Christmassy
It is the people you're
vibe.
with though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah,
And good food and good drink.
yeah,
Sorted.
totally. Yeah, drink.
Just like that.
All right. Hey, well, you've got to head off to training.
I do. Yeah, damn. Do you want to come? Do you guys want to come?
Oh,
Running
yeah.
session today?
I would love to, but we've got to do like
We've got some stuff
if you played
to do.
against us, there wouldn't be any kind of training. That would just be
we've
humiliating.
got like stuff to do and
Stuff to do.
Yeah, we would come and train, but we've got to like
Totally,
do some
I can see,
things
yeah.
with the widgets and all that.
With the
fun
widgets.
stuff.
When's the first game for the Steel? You said it's all pre-season.
Oh gosh, March sometime next year.
So why are you training? I mean, that doesn't
So
make.
for Constellation Cup,
Yeah. So
October 13th, I think. First
where do you
game.
train? Where is the base?
They've got the high performance centre down by Forsyth Bar.
Okay.
So there's a gym there that we.
That's
train
the one
in.
the university sort of uses it next to the stadium.
Yeah.
Attached to the stadium.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's where we do all our training, and then at the Edgar Centre for netball stuff. But we'd have to travel to train as a group sometimes.
So that's actually a Silver Ferns training you're going to.
Yeah.
So the rest of the Steel won't be there.
No, so yeah, it's just me, Shannon, and Tapaya at the moment training together.
It's a bit boring. Just three of
Oh,
you.
it's always us three, to be honest, really.
Yeah.
So we're used to it after like 8 years together.
Are there any franchises where there's just one?
Yeah, Jane's the only one in Christchurch at the moment, so
Right.
it would be pretty tough if you're by yourself, I imagine. You'd sort of want to take shortcuts.
Do you guys just train with each other, the three of you? Or
Oh,
is
and
there
we've got a trainer as
so
well.
there's a trainer as well. So
Yeah.
she'll have a trainer as well?
Yeah, well, yeah, I think so.
One-on-one.
It depends. Yeah, it
That's not
depends.
bad.
Yeah, it depends.
One-on-one. And you went through university, you've done like
Yes.
physiology stuff, haven't you?
Yeah, it's sort of like exercise prescription, personal training, yeah.
Yeah. And is that the plan for like
Honestly,
afterwards?
I have no idea.
Got no clue.
Yeah, I'm getting to that stage where I'm like, what am I going to do
Yeah.
after netball? So, I mean, yeah, I've got a bit of experience in that side, but who knows? I honestly have no idea.
Yeah.
It'd be
It's not the kind of
scary.
thing you have to worry about, eh?
Well, I don't know. I'm not going to play for too much longer, I don't imagine.
What do you reckon? Go on, this is a world exclusive. When you're retiring?
Maybe like a couple of years.
Going to do the next World Cup?
Nah, I'll be 32. Like.
Oh
I
my
don't know.
God. Oh my god, it's so old.
It's so old. It's like,
But-
you need to go and buy a convertible and have
No.
a life crisis.
32, I just don't know. Like I've got so many injuries. My knees are sore, my feet, things like that.
You hear a lot of it's my old rugby injury, and for some people it's just like, whatever.
Yeah.
But for a lot of like guys, builders and stuff, there it's like, my old, my knees are playing up from my old rugby injuries. Is it the same for female netballers? And, for netballers, are they wrecking their hips and their knees and their
knees and ankles definitely.
So when they're a 60-year-old netball player, they're just like hobbling around sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely. It's actually really bad. Like some people can do a really good job on ankles, and then the thing is with an ankle you can just strap it up and you can actually play, but you do some pretty bad damage.
I can solve this problem as well. This can be the second problem I solve today.
All right,
shall I solve it for you?
Yeah.
I reckon within 10 years stem cells are going to stop all those issues.
Oh yeah.
I've been listening and watching a little bit of the what's been going on with the UFC and guys going into various South American countries where they can use sort of the I forget the name of it, but from the umbilical cord, embryonic
fluid.
Yeah, but not from an unborn baby, just from the umbilical cord. And people who need surgeries on their shoulders and stuff, getting stem cells and not needing surgery anymore and healing. Evidence of bone and cartilage growing back with stem cells. I personally, both my parents had knee replacements. Both my parents had cartilage issues after kind of their 20s and 30s playing tennis and squash, and my mum played softball and netball and various things. And I reckon that we're coming to the end of seeing things like knee replacements. I reckon in 15 years, like if you can go right now to Queenstown and get injections in your knees for 15 grand each of stem cells, I reckon in 15 years from now, it'll be go to your doctor and it'll be 125 bucks each. So I reckon that's the solution. So I reckon you're just the right generation
to be
rewarded. to root your knees now.
Yeah.
And by the time you're 40, go in this case, you'll be fine.
Well, to be honest, it'll be great. Knees are a huge issue as well in netball. Just far too many.
The other thing that's interesting is, we sound like we're going to wrap this up before, but we don't have to, we do whatever we want, is women in sport as well. The whole baby shtick.
That's another thing to think about, yeah.
But some go, like Casey went away and had a baby and came back, yeah? How many in the Silver Ferns now have kids?
Amelia ran also, so we had 2 mums in the World Cup team, yeah. And I don't know how they did it, It's crazy. And they actually came back in better nick than they were beforehand, which is also mind-boggling. But
do you think Jacinda's done a disservice to women everywhere? That she runs a country with a baby?
She's so cute too, old Neve. We actually met her at the Parliament.
I was going to say, I was watching it, and it was kind of one of those proud to be a New Zealander moments. You want to bring up the Silver Ferns Facebook page. It was delightful to see you guys meeting with the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
And have baby Neve there at the same time. It's like this person is running our country and all at the same time. She's got a kid with
babe,
her.
Yeah, amazing.
It was very, very cool.
Yeah, she's actually so lovely too. Oh my gosh, I feel like she's really like a genuinely nice person, which is really nice.
So that's one of the things I guess that's different from men, is the whole, I guess, for want of a better word, biological clock is ticking sort of thing.
Exactly, and that's a legitimate thing as well that I think. I don't want to be like a real old first mum, as in like you'd sort of so you really have to factor it into. As
what, like a 29-year-old?
No. I was thinking
what do you consider? What do you consider as a real old, out of interest?
For the first mum, I definitely want to be started before like 34. I think.
Okay. All right.
I think.
And how does boyfriend feel about that? Is he getting some information right now he hasn't had before?
Yeah, he needs to text me and be like, "What are you talking about?" That's still 6 years though, so.
Oh, here we go. So if you skip forward a little bit, go to the bit where they're actually in the PM's office giving. And she gave.
I didn't realise they did a big video like this.
You gave her a dress.
Yeah.
And was that a dress that was used in the finals? Do you know?
I imagine it would be a spare one because I think all the girls took the ones that we wore in the final.
Do you have that one there? Do you have one? So if you wanted to wear, like I know what some of the rugby players sometimes do is they change their tops at half time, and then they've got two. They've got 2 for the final. So you don't have the ability to do that. What's all the writing on the back?
I think she just wrote a quick message to her, Casey.
Nice. So there you go. And see that, I think that's so cool.
That's so funny. She wasn't really interested in the trophy. She was more interested in something else, I think.
Yeah.
That's okay.
And how long did you hang up there for?
Probably about half an hour maybe, or just less than. And then we went out and we actually had a lunch afterwards as well, which was really nice. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Cute.
It's pretty cool. I mean, it is a pretty high bar for the working mum, isn't it? That you bring your baby to work and run the country.
I think she has lots of. Oh yeah, there I am sitting in her desk. Oh yeah.
Is there a red button anywhere?
Yeah.
What would our red button be? That would be like to release the doves? Is
Probably
that what our red button is?
It'd be to page Winston, wouldn't it? Or tell Winston it's his nap time, or.
Oh, that's cool, man. Good time?
Yeah.
So you guys had because you guys all went and travelled, it wasn't like a massive reception.
Know. Wow.
You should have been on a double-decker bus going through Queen Street, shouldn't you? Isn't that what world champions do?
Holy, that would
with
have been
confetti?
fun.
Well, I remember going to the ticker tape parade for when we won the America's Cup in 2000.
500,000 people.
That was massive though, wasn't it?
They did a tour. What was the thing that they toured the country with recently? Was that the Rugby World Cup or?
I don't know, but I remember being at that ticker tape as well when we won.
I in Dunedin,
Yes, I think I went to that too.
It was a huge deal when we first won it. It was massive. Yeah, it was like the entire country, even if they didn't watch it, it was like ticker tape. And
so what have you done? You've had the PM's reception. What else has the team done?
Well, no, see, that's been the quite disappointing thing was we had a big night after the final, and then that next day, so a couple of the girls had to go straight to Australia because they continued their domestic league, so they're still playing. And then a few of us went travelling, and then some went home. So we've all just sort of dispersed. And
so this is it. This is the official celebration.
Right
we
here.
should get some of those party poppers, Jason. Then we could have gone.
Yeah. Come on. Yay.
We have the fridge of many things behind you.
We do the fridge of many things.
True.
So.
Yeah. So that's probably something that's missing. We do have the Netball Awards coming up, but I think we need like a pure team thing before that.
And as you said earlier, very clearly, and the press can quote this, that you guys will win the Halberg because you hope the All Blacks don't win the Rugby World Cup. Did I hear that?
That is not what I said.
Oh, okay.
No. Although you can put it out there. You've been the one,
We'll do that.
All the epiphanies today.
What we do, what do they call it? When you put a fake headline up to get clickbait.
Clickbait
yeah.
news.
We'll get
Your fake
clickbait.
news.
This one.
Your fake news.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen. Hey, it's been a blast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No, look, thanks for coming in. I know this is a bit of a weird little thing we do, just
it's cool.
talk shit for an hour.
Yeah, you guys are good with setup here. Lovely.
And good luck for the Constellation Cup.
Thanks very much. Yeah.
Would you, if you guys don't beat Australia, like I was thinking it last night, I was thinking, how would a professional athlete, how would a professional team feel? Let's say you have a 4-yearly cycle for your World Cup, and you have a losing record for 4 years, but you win the World Cup.
Yeah.
And then you have
Which
a losing.
pretty much
But what would one prefer? Would you rather? Because long time the All Blacks would always go into the World Cup being champions, but up until recently they would then lose it. But they'd have this winning record for 4 years, massive, like 90% winning, and then they wouldn't win the cup. And then they have a winning record. Which would be better?
No, you definitely want to win the main thing, I think.
So even if you had the losing record,
yeah, I think so. I don't. Yeah.
Does that therefore mean the Constellation Cup has less value?
Well, it's quite weird. It's kind of like, so how are we going into this? Are we going to use the same game plan we just used? Like, do you take the same team? Like, do you change who's in it? All these sorts of things. And because they're going to be out to get us, like, that's for sure. But I think
it's a little bit like Donald Trump winning the presidency. Even if they, well, it is, because even if they're out to get you, you can still just go, but we're world champions.
Yeah, exactly.
Like no matter what they say to him, there was that famous speech that what's his name, Seth Meyers made at a journalists retreat thing they have, where basically he mocked the president the whole time. Sorry, mocked Trump the whole time. And then in the end, Donald Trump won because he became the president. And Seth Meyers has said this. He's gone, he won.
Yeah.
He won. Because there's nothing you can take that away from. Yeah. You might have taken the piss out of his hair and about, his racist views, all that kind of stuff. But he's the president. It's like, no matter what happens in the next few weeks, you can be like,
I guess we've got that over them.
We're world champions.
Definitely.
So you've always got that. And you wasn't.
Yeah, I'd rather be on this side than the other side.
I think I remember it might have been John Walker talking about the difference between world records and gold medals.
Oh, interesting.
And saying gold medals are always more important than world records, because eventually you'll lose your world record, but you can never lose the gold medal.
That's true.
You can not bring it along to a conversation you're having with someone, but you can never. In fact, But you can't lose it now because it's been
No, it's
being
been
done
framed. Well, unless I lose the frame.
Insured? You haven't insured?
No.
You rent or
Should
you
I?
own in Dunedin?
Rent, yeah.
Okay.
Well, Tapaya owns the house. I pay her rent.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
We'll be all right. Surely.
All right. Well, we better let you go.
Yeah,
I'm sure
lovely.
we can keep talking about anything else.
Thanks
now,
so much.
what we're left with is Peaky Blinders is a must.
Yeah, I reckon.
Are you going to go see the second
gosh.
It film?
No.
How come?
It'll be the same, surely, as the first.
I'm quite looking forward to it because it's
Really?
27 years on.
Oh, okay.
And see what
I
it's
think
about.
I've seen the shots. Yeah. Do you get actually scared or no? I went like, oh, yeah.
Not a
Fair
horror
enough.
girl.
Sometimes.
All right. Peaky Blinders is a must.
Yeah.
We've got that so far. Constellation Cup coming up. And even if we lose it, who cares because we're all champions.
And that's all that
Quote.
matters.
Gina
Yeah.
Crampton, quote.
Oh, gosh.
But other than that, thanks for coming. It's been a
Yeah,
blast.
thanks. It's been great.